Humans and dogs have been together for more than 15,000 years. The first relationship that they established was cooperation for hunting. And then they became part of the group and the social structure of humans. And with their barking or being alert, they were alerting from dangers around families. So we have in our genes a close relationship that produces behaviors and produces feelings that are really understandable because they're well rooted in our DNA. Dogs have evolved with people, and therefore they need daily care. They don't just need food and shelter. They need human contact. They need an owner who takes care of them, who plays with them, who walks them around. And when you have street dogs that are abandoned, you are not having all the requirements of love and care that dogs need. So, from the point of view of animal welfare, it is an act of extreme cruelty to have dogs on the street and believing that because you tap their head once a day or you throw some food on the street for them to have, believe that you are doing a good thing from the point of view of animal welfare. That's not right. It's absolutely wrong.
There is almost 2 million dogs here in Chile and the whole country that has responsible owners that live in the house and people take good care of them. There is also almost 1 million dogs that live in the street, and 70% of those dogs have owners, but their owners let them run free, and sometimes they feed them, sometimes they sleep in their homes, but most of the time they're in the street. And in these million dogs that live in the street, there is 30% that are actually dogs that doesn't have an owner, and they have a very short life because they get diseases and they're very thin. They have to deal with the weather, so they have a very short time. They get to a point that they don't react at all to anything. They're so desensitized to all the stimulus, to all the things that are happening in the street, that they don't even react. You can approach them with a camera, with a strange device, and they will not react. Muy buena, mi niña. They're so used to a lot of things going on around them, and sometimes they're used to, they're so desensitized that they don't react, but sometimes they also cannot react because they're so weak to react to different stimulus that are approaching them.
There used to be more control policy, and then in the last decade the abandonment of dogs has increased greatly. So it's a problem mostly over the last decade or 2 decades that the rate of dogs has increased such that there is about 1 dog per every 3 persons, and the normal rate is 1 for every 10 people in other countries. So the abandonment has gone out of control.
I think some people really treat their dogs as a family member, take care about them, give them proper veterinary care and so forth. The problem is that the majority are not considering dogs as an important part of our culture, society, and way of living. That's what explains why we have so many abandoned dogs on the streets. And I would say that, unfortunately, in our society, we are having a public authority that is not taking responsibility of the multiple consequences of dogs being on the street or in rural areas. But you will not transform a domestic animal that could evolve with people's care by just keeping them loose in the street. What you are causing is a long suffering before death, and that's an act of cruelty. It's absolutely wrong. Dogs cannot be without companion, without care, without proper veterinary care.
Welcome to Fundación Stuka. We're working to change the perception of people about the situation here in Chile. Fundación Stuka is a dog shelter, so we've been collecting some dogs and then we heal them and then we put them for adoption. We train our dogs to prepare them for adoption, for the new homes, and to make the transition more effective. We have to put a lot of effort and work. Shelters are not the solution. We work in a shelter, but we know that there's not the solution. The solution is education. As Fundación Estuca, we are focusing our efforts to be a part of the solution. Today we are treating 50 or 60 dogs, average. To all of those dogs, we are putting the vaccines, the anti-parasites treatment, and the identification. And also we are giving them food, which other people donate us.
Especially is animal behavior, the problem in animal behavior. Dogs vaccination to date have owners, but the problem is the owners no have the control with the dogs. The dogs go for the street all time. The problem in Chile for this situation is very, very important. Sometimes this dog biting the people in the street.
¿Qué estar haciendo por los animales? Ya que lo vacunan y para las pulgas y todo eso.
Okay, she says she's bringing her dog here for his health, and they don't have a lot of money, so they appreciate very much this kind of operatives when they come and look for the health of their puppies and dogs.
People don't understand the situation. They let the females roam or go around their houses and be pregnant every time they can, and the puppies after that are in the streets with no owners at all. To be honest, it's a transition. You cannot end the problem in Chile today.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that no one knows what to do with the dogs and no one wants them to be killed. But animal protection groups have played this big role in saying that if the dogs are taken away from the streets, that they will all be killed, and it's not that way. I mean, there are other alternatives that have been used in other countries, a registration system, an adoption system, and then eventually euthanasia for those dogs that cannot be adopted, that are too aggressive or that are too ill to be adopted. And I think that's the main issue in Chile, that everyone thinks that if their dogs are taken away from the streets, they're going to be killed.
Well, I think the solution is not rocket science in a way. It's just to have a proper legislation, proper funding for counties to take the dogs out of the street, have dog shelters where the dogs should be vaccinated, should be retrained for adoption. All dogs should be marked with a microchip. When you buy a dog or you acquire a dog in somehow, you should be registered in a county registry. All of that should be on the internet so everybody knows who is the owner of a given dog. And then you should pay a license to protect your neighbors or other animals from attacks from dogs. And all the dogs that are going feral and are aggressive to people or have been inside protected areas, they should be taken away because they cannot be there, because they are causing problems to people and other animals, and as a situation of health risk. I think that's the solution.